Hospital, perinatal bereavement coordinator, Joy Sterrett. Joy, welcome back.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, great to have you here, and particularly this month because this is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month.
Yes.
I never knew we had such a thing.
Yeah, we do.
How did Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month get its start in our country?
So in 1988, President Reagan actually made a proclamation for a national observance of pregnancy and infant loss for our families who've experienced a loss.
And the whole month we observe that.
Yes.
Is there a special day?
October 15th is this specific day
Okay.
that is an observance of pregnancy and infant loss awareness, and we actually have a whole global awareness too on October 15th at 7 p.m. It's called Wave of Light, and all across the world individuals are encouraged to light a candle in honor of their baby. And then they can participate in memorializing their baby on that special day.
So it's kind of a silent and can be a very private and personal thing too.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of families, they don't really get a chance to grieve and share their grief with others, particularly when the baby is dead at birth, right?
Correct. Yeah, so this is a wonderful opportunity for them, and we will also have a post on Henry Ford Jackson Facebook page regarding the Wave of Life. So if anyone wants to post their comments on that, they can do that also.
All right, and is there a time that people light the candles?
7 p.m.
Okay.
Yep, 7 p.m.
All right, and it's candles, we light candles.
Yes.
All right. Perinatal bereavement coordinator. Is that the same title you had the last time you were here?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is it you do? Tell us about your role.
So I provide grief support for patients who've had a loss in the hospital, and that's any type of loss, whether it's a miscarriage, stillborn, infant death, and we've expanded our resources to provide grief support for pediatric deaths as well. So it's a well-rounded program.
Well, it's an unbelievable service you provide, and I'm amazed because I think it's got to be a very difficult situation to be in, dealing with families who've lost a baby.
Yes.
That's got to be, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. How many families do you serve each year?
Approximately 300 families each year.
Wow.
Between our early loss patients, we provide pregnancy remembrance bags and grief folders for every patient that comes in the hospital who's had early loss, so that'd be under 20-week gestational age losses. That's also including our stillborn moms who deliver up an L&D and our infant deaths as well.
So patients who lose a baby during pregnancy, that's grief.
Yes, definitely.
And I think people that haven't been through something, haven't had that in their family, they don't understand the impact.
That's correct.
Of losing a pregnancy.
Yes, a lot of our early loss patients feel very isolated in their grief because they don't have that support from sometimes the family and friends around them. So that's where I come in to make sure that they have support.
And people say things, thoughtless things, not realizing maybe that it's, they're trying to help. But
yes.
So how do you help?
So I provide the resources, like I said, at the hospital. I do provide a support group virtually once a month. We also provide different services and events for families to be able to memorialize their baby. We just had a Walk to Remember service that we partnered with Jack Snaz. We had approximately 100 individuals come and participate in a tree planting ceremony, a craft. We had patient participants that read and spoke at the service. So we do some of those outreaches as well.
And there is a difference in the loss of a pregnancy or an infant from any other type of loss.
Yes.
How?
For an elderly person to pass away, they leave behind the memories. They leave behind things that the patients or the family members can grasp and help with their healing. When you lose an infant and a baby, you lose the hope of that family, the dreams that you have created for that family when you are thinking about having that baby included in your family, whether it's a sibling for your other children. And so it's a completely different loss. And for some families who've suffered infertility, that loss might be their only chance at having a pregnancy. So it really can impact their lives.
Yeah, so as I mentioned a moment ago, some of the things people might say, oh, well, you're young, you can try again. Not an appropriate thing to say.
No, definitely not.
What would you recommend to someone who wants to help or comfort a friend or family member who has had a loss?
Number one is just really verifying with the family or helping to support them in that grief moment. Whether it is, helping them pick up their kids from school, giving groceries, just being there in person for that family, offering just to sit there, hold their hand, a shoulder to cry on. A lot of times they don't want your words of encouragement because, like you mentioned, a lot of times, even though individuals have, they're hoping to provide these words of encouragement, sometimes they're not very helpful and sometimes they can be very hurtful.
What point do you enter the equation in the hospital?
So I can be paged through our paging system, whether they're in the ER, the patient's in the ER, whether they're in surgery having a D&C, whether we have an infant death or a pediatric death in the ER. So they can page me, they can get a hold of me after the fact. Sometimes if the family is not able to connect with me in the hospital, they can refer the family to me after, and then I can do some follow-up afterwards.
So you're brought in.
Yes.
The doctor and nurse brings you in at this point. Do you ever have to be the one that delivers the bad news?
I typically am not there to deliver, but sometimes I'm there in the room to offer support while that news is being given.
Oh wow, I can't imagine. It seems to me like a very difficult job.
Yeah,
very special person it takes to do this
Thank
job.
you.
Now you mentioned people who've lost their baby during pregnancy. We're hearing so much talk these days about fetuses and viability and abortions, and Henry Ford Jackson Hospital, there are no abortions.
We don't do abortions at Henry Ford Jackson. No.
Okay. But there's something called
Ectopic pregnancies, yes. Yeah, so if a mom comes in and has an ectopic pregnancy, that can be a life-threatening condition for the mother that we have to take care of. And once in a while there might be a heartbeat that is detected, but most of the time it's not. So, those are definitely those procedures that can raise suspicion for some of our probably politicians because we want to make sure that we are providing life-saving measures to the mother, and ectopic pregnancies, they are not viable. They will not be able to go to full term.
And you're the doctors, you're the providers and clinicians, you know better than somebody outside.
Yes, correct.
Now you've got a project you're proposing that will promote inclusion and promote equal access to health services for those in need.
Yes.
Particularly pregnant women in Jackson County. What's your project?
So we're hoping to partner with Jackson Area Transportation Authority and the Rights to Wellness program, providing transportation for our mothers to their prenatal visits. And that's just going to help ensure that they're getting the education and prenatal surveillance, disease management, which will make sure that we have a healthy baby and mom at the end of that pregnancy.
And the reality is we do have infant deaths that are the result of poor prenatal or no prenatal care.
Yes, definitely. And research shows that if moms are getting the proper prenatal care, it will decrease preterm birth rates. It will decrease miscarriage rates. and stillborn infant death rates. So it's so important to now kind of flip the switch, and not only am I providing the grief support, but I'm trying to also work on the prevention side and make sure that we're meeting the moms where they are, where they need, so that they can get access to prenatal care.
And it's going to be especially hard if we do have a loss that is the result of its lifestyle or whatever that's contributed to the infant death. That's going to be even harder for you.
It can be. I mean, you definitely have to come in non-judgmental. I'm there to provide grief support no matter the circumstances. But again, another reason to get prenatal surveillance quickly, right in the first trimester or shortly after second trimester, for even the help for our moms with substance abuse disorders, helping them get into a treatment program. I'm there just to provide grief support, but I'm also, not like I said, trying to, prevent loss from occurring, preventable loss.
Yeah, put yourself out of business. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, exactly.
So is it transportation to a prenatal appointment for a mom? Is that the transportation? Is that the issue?
That's part of the issue. I mean, there's definitely multi-level, multifaceted issues in our community. But that is one of the big barriers to our moms in Jackson County, yes.
And if someone is pregnant and they're smoking and drinking or using drugs, they probably don't want to go to the doctor.
They might not.
I would guess.
Yeah, they might not.
They might not.
Yeah, and that's part of our problem also, because we want to make sure that we are not stigmatizing the mom and we are not judging them. But we're here to help them where they're at, wherever their needs might lie. We're there to provide the support to make sure that they're healthy and the baby's healthy.
Right, and as a man, I have no idea. I have no idea what people go through
Right.
having a baby. So, yeah, I definitely, I'll stay out of the judgment zone. Well, it's amazing what you do, and I'm glad you do it.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was wonderful to be on.
Yeah, coming up, Wave of Light, 7 p.m. this
On the 15th.
15th.
On the 15th, yes.
15th. Support those who've had pregnancy and infant loss during Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month.
Yes.
Thanks, Joy.
Thank you so much.
Joy Starrett is Perinatal Bereavement Coordinator at Henry Ford Jackson Hospital.